Welcome back to Jules Math Tools where math is made easy. In this session, we're calculating our mixed fractions with unlike denominators when we're finding just a common multiple of our numbers in our denominator. So remember that in most cases, we're asked to find the lowest common multiple, but what happens when we do not find the lowest common multiple, but just use any multiple to get our denominators the same? If you're ready to see how this method works out, let's get started. So in this session, we're going to be calculating the difference of our fractions with unlike denominators. And in most cases, we usually work with finding the lowest common denominator. But however, in this video, we're going to be working with our fractions when we just find a common denominator. In no particular order, or in no particular fashion, we're just going to find a common multiple of our numbers. So we find our LCD or LCM of 4 and 10. And we know for these two numbers, their lowest common multiple is 20. But in most cases, when finding the lowest common denominator, most students just multiply the denominator together. For example, 4 times 10, which equals 40, to get our common multiple. So let's see how we work out this fraction when we use 40 as the number in our denominator. And remember that for this session, we are not looking to work out our whole numbers and our fractional parts separate. Rather, I'm going to be working all of those numbers in one fraction. And remember, I told you earlier that it is possible. I just prefer to work it to the side. But for this video or this session, we're going to be doing all of that working within our fractions. So let's get converting to our equivalent form. So we have 40 in the denominator, and we get 40 by multiplying 4 times 10, which equals to 40. So I will also multiply my numerator of 3 by 10, which will give me 30. And now for my fraction of 7/10, when I multiply 10 times 4, I got 40. So I will also multiply 7 times 4 to get 28. So now we're going to be working out our entire fraction by calculating its difference. So let's begin with our whole number first, since that number is always written first in our answer. So we subtract 4 from 5. So 5 minus 4 will equal to 1. So my whole number will equal to 1. I will now subtract 30 and 28, which will give me a difference of 2. So my fractional part will be 2. And remember that the denominator remains the same at 40. Now, with this particular fraction of 1 and 2/40, 2 and 40 are both even numbers. And because they are even number, that tells me that I can now go further and reduce my fraction into its simplest form. So because they're both even numbers, that means they have a common multiple in 2, which is their highest common multiple. So I will divide 2 by 2, which will equal to 1. And when 40 is divided by 2, I will get a denominator of 20. And if you saw the first session where we worked through this question, we got the exact same answer in that working as well. So remember that when you're using either the lowest common denominator or you're using just a common multiple on the whole to convert your fractions to their equivalent form, remember that regardless of which multiple you decide to use, the end result of your final answer should always be the same. The only difference and the only reason we mostly encourage you find the lowest common multiple or the lowest common denominator is simply because in most cases, some students are not strong in the area of simplifying fraction. And if you find the lowest common denominator, that kind of eliminates in most cases the need for having to simplify the fraction further. But as always, remember, get some additional practice in, try out more fractions with unlike denominators, and see if you're able to find the same solution when you use the lowest common multiple or you just simply use a multiple. And until next time, this is Jules Math Tools, where math is made easy.